So, we have DC Comics with another announcement when I think the Tim Drake thing was only a month or two ago. That now Superman's son, Jonathan Kent, is basically bi. Now, I see some people are like very upset. Some people are like, well, good. And I still want to do a Tim Drake thing. I'm still getting my thoughts about it, but maybe I'll just finally do it. I don't like the fact that people are like, Tim Drake has always been bi because of this panel and this panel and this panel. Or it was written weird. Show me a panel where Tim Drake flat out said, I like dudes. Or it was like, man, he's cute. Or, yeah, I'm interested. Or, kind of gets me. Like, there's none. And people use the fact of how he felt about Superboy because they had these funny moments, because apparently two men can't be friends anymore or be really close friends, and how he was afterwards and devastated because he lost his friend and did everything in his power to bring his best friend back. And they're like, that proves it. I'm like, no, that doesn't. If my best friend left this world, I would be devastated. And if I had a way of possibly bringing them back, especially if they passed away prematurely because of like an accident or attack or something, I would try to do it. But this isn't the Tim Drake video. And by the way, that's not me saying Tim Drake can't be bi. That's why I said I have to really do a video by itself where I could see how it worked and why I don't like what they did. But to me, they should have came out with John Kent first. But as we know, these probably weren't planned exactly. Because all the headlines keep doing this whole Superman comes out bi. It's kind of the same thing like they did with Spider-Man being black. They want you to do the hate bait, clickbait stuff. And the problem is that people don't know these other characters that well. And DC and Marvel can be like, we're going to promote these characters. Well, Miles Morales has gotten popular now because of his movie and stuff, but Miles has been around for a very long time. And you're going to get your Foxes, they're going to go see, they're trying to take it. And I've seen, I think Ethan Van Sciver and several other people already talk about how they're going to make Superman gay or anything like that. Now, here's something I find funny. If you're going to start doing this every month or every other month, it's going to lose its luster really fast. Because it's like, okay, sure. Now, Jonathan Kent, I had to go back into my things because I didn't even remember Jonathan Kent getting with anybody. And I had to kind of look into it a little. And I actually forgot about he was with Saturn Girl in like the future or something like that. He was dating Saturn Girl. And for this, he, because when my friend showed this to me, because I was working, and he was like, dude, check this out. And I was like, well, why didn't they just make him gay? Because I didn't remember that John was with Saturn Girl. I was like, yeah, if they do that, that won't make sense. It's better than what they did with Iceman. Because the Iceman thing made no sense. So yeah. But then there's people like, see, why did they keep doing this? Yeah, is it some virtue signaling there and probably some disingenuine things in there? Yeah. But let's also look at the other side. Jonathan Kent is a new character. He's not even 10 years old. I think he's like 6 years old. And really, I mean, I personally don't like that they aged him up, but at the same time, I understand why they aged him up. I loved Super Sons, but Super Sons did not do well in sales. There's stuff out there. I think Perch did it. There's stuff out there to show you. So for as much as Super Sons was amazing and awesome and has a really strong fan base, it didn't do well. So they aged up Jonathan to now 17. Now, I actually do not have an issue with Jonathan Kent being bisexual. He's a newer character. He's, he's Superman currently. And the story, from what I've seen of it so far, has actually been pretty stinking good. I kind of figured it was coming when I seen the pink-haired guy, because I can't remember his name right now. The image is a little on the nose with the dark and the light and the arrow up and the arrow down from what I'm looking at. And I'm like, really, guys? Now we have two characters. Now I got a weird feeling. I wouldn't even hate this. I have a weird feeling that Jonathan Kent and Tim Drake are going to have a storyline where they get together. At least for a stint, and maybe have like a team up book. But they're like, boyfriend and boyfriend. And I would like, okay, how is that going to go? Because they're both exploring it and it's kind of new and they're kind of feeling it out. So, that could be interesting. And I know some people probably be like, why aren't you like opposed to this? I'm not opposed to a new character who they really haven't explored their sexuality to come out as that. Now, here's what I do have an issue with Jonathan Kent as a character coming out. So when they try to do Supergirl, which and Superman Batman storyline, they made 2 cartoon movies out of it from Jeff Loeb, because they were really cool stories. They did a thing where they were like, Supergirl's more powerful than Superman. What? She just walks on the scene and is? Now, I like the idea, and I like that they've kind of gone back. Supergirl is faster than Superman. Or something like that. There should be dichotomy, and then they had to retcon that and fix it, and then Superman is actually still stronger. And I'm like, no, it should be. Like when you have Spider-Man and his daughter is actually more agile than him, because usually women have lower sense of gravity, the gymnasts, things like that. There's factors that come into play, and it makes a lot of sense that she's a little bit faster moving, and she's a little bit on that agility side. You give them things that make each one special enough, but also make them feel a little differently. Even if it was, hey, she can produce more energy than Superman. Like, you give them something that makes them stand out, but doesn't take away from the other character. Kind of like Mega Man and Proto Man. So then you run into this thing that I started to think about after the article, and I kind of chewed on it for a little bit. They're making Jonathan Kent an activist because he's dealing with a hacktivist. He berated his father about his father doesn't do enough. Yet, in another comic, when his father did something, when it was Atlantis versus, I think it was the United States, over a piece of War World, and Superman, Supergirl, and John were all there, and Superman just took the artifact and now is technically beefing with Aquaman. Supergirl was like, well, you shouldn't have did that. Like, you kind of broke a rule kind of thing. Like, that wasn't cool. You got to let them figure it out for themselves. He's like, I'm not going to let them end themselves or go to war over a stupid artifact that they don't even know what it can do. That was Superman getting involved more than what he was supposed to, as a character of his own saying. But then all of a sudden, Jonathan's like, you're not doing enough, and now he's starting to interfere with government stuff. And I like the fact Jonathan is there to help. He helped the fire guy. He did the other thing with the other guy, or the refugees, stuff like that. But they're like pushing him to be an activist. Now, here's where I start to have a little bit of an issue. Jonathan Kent, stronger than Superman. There's a strong possibility he's stronger than Superman because the human Kryptonian DNA can possibly produce a stronger thing, because human DNA, I'm going to assume that because human DNA has untapped potential in certain areas, and we have like old things that are dormant that may be the Kryptonian thing and it mixes really well. Don't know. He's activist. He told his father off and about how his father doesn't do enough and all this stuff. No, in a prior comic or a previous comic, he literally jumped on his dad for doing more. And he's like, why haven't you done more? And his dad's like, well, maybe that's for you to do. And so it's like they started checking off all the boxes to make him be the bestest of the bestest. And I don't think that sits well with me. Jonathan, if he wanted to do more, it's more of the show for me. And talking about him now becoming an activist, I'm just like, And the other problem I have is when I talked to my friend, he said it too. He said he feels like they're sitting in a room going, who else can we make buy? And who else can we do this? Instead of it meaning something. They're doing it to capture headlines. Now, there are people who keep saying, oh, they're doing all this because they're trying to get buzz, because they're scared, because DC Comics is about to shut down. The guy who bought them from Discovery literally said that they are a top priority, especially Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. So I don't think DC Comics are going anywhere. Now, they have lost a lot of their heavy hitters to Comixology and Substack, but at the end of the day, this feels like a marketing ploy because they did it so close to the Tim Drake thing. It doesn't feel genuine to me, anyway. It feels like they just did it to do it. But taking the third Robin, who's always been questioning himself, okay, like I said, I'll get to that. I'm like half-half with that. Taking Jonathan, who I didn't even fully remember the Saturn Girl situation, and he's a new character. And this is what I've always said. You should do this with newer characters for a generation to relate to and stop taking the old characters and doing it. But I did see the writer say something about we had to have another straight white savior. Why did you need to go there? Why did you need to take it there? You're the one who also made Harley Quinn bisexual. It worked out great. Fine. But why did you need to take it to the straight white savior thing? Like, why does it always have to be, you have to make sure you say their race, their orientation, and stuff? Like, I'm tired of that. That's that identity politics thing. And that was what really tells me you didn't do it to be fully genuine, per se. Not saying in his heart of hearts, he wants to write more bi characters and queer characters. That's fine. But it doesn't come off that way when you say crap like that. Or when I start seeing some people go after and say, oh, this is going to make the right people mad. Or the fact that the bi community is getting appreciation because the bi community, out of that, from what I understand, and by people that I've known and I've watched, out of all the LGBTQ, they're the B, they kind of get snuffed by everyone as fence sitters and stuff. So actually, I do think that's good, that they're getting some representation. Now, here's something that I am having a question about with DC. Marvel too, but we're focused on DC right now. I kind of was looking like, until I didn't remember Saturn Girl, I'm like, why didn't you just make him gay? Okay, see, my problem also with the bi thing is they can kind of, well, we can go back and do this. And Tim Drake, it made sense because he had a girlfriend. But I'm like, where's the rest of the representation here? If you guys, see, this is where I have an issue. If you're going to start getting all woke, then let's go. Because I want to see representation. Where's the gay characters? Where's the rest of the trans characters? We got one, and a freaking awesome character in Dreamer. Let's go. So, I don't know. Tell me what you think. The shock kind of wore off because they kind of already, started to snuff the flame with the Tim Drake thing. It's now like, it feels like it's a marketing ploy, and in the next month or two, we're going to hear another person is bi or something. So if that happens, then now it's like, no, this isn't genuine, and people shouldn't accept it as genuine. This is Geek Protagonist. You stay safe, you stay healthy, you stay real, and I'll see you.